Hi, welcome to the next video in this series, preparing you for OT school. I was inspired to make this video because I found my journal where I was comparing OT to PT, and I wrote down all of the things that I thought OT would be. And now as a third-year grad student, I'm gonna look back on those and see if it all holds up and see if I regret any of my choices. And spoiler, I do regret some of them. If you missed my last two videos, I would recommend going and watching them, where I answer the top 5 most commonly asked questions about OT school and give you OT interview tips. So let's dive into all of my thoughts. So first up, I thought that OT was a very creative field. And this one does hold up. There's a lot of creativity involved in OT because the way that people do things is so different for everyone. There's no cookie cutter cut and paste treatment plan, so you have to use a lot of creativity. Now, to preface this, I am interested in the adult world. The pediatric world, so creative, so much more creativity there. But even in the adult world, there is a lot of creativity. Now, this does vary setting to setting. I'm currently on a rotation in a traditional hospital, acute care, and it is far less creative than other fields simply because you're limited in what you can do and what patients need you to do at this level of care. But I think that the demands on creativity are a lot lower just because the opportunity for it is limited. Now, I was in inpatient rehab, and because you have patients that are advancing to higher levels, the opportunity for creativity is phenomenal there, and I'm sure outpatient is even more so like that. So yes, very creative field, great for someone who is a creative mind. I have a lot of creative outlets, and I do consider occupational therapy to be one of my creative outlets. I was under the impression that occupational therapists make decent money. Let's dive into this. If you watched my first video, you know that the average income in the United States for occupational therapists is about $93,000. Now, this is about double the median income for all occupations. But here's the thing, the cost to enter OT is very high and raising daily. There's also opportunity cost in that in the time that you're in OT school, you're not making money, and OT school is 3 years long. Looking at schools, I priced it all out. Everybody can do things a different way. However, I would be hard pressed to find someone that didn't spend at least $100,000 on school. Now, whether you spent this on debt or money that you saved or your parents paid for it, it's still spending a year's worth of income minimum. There will always be outliers. I'm sure there will be outliers commenting on this video like, no, OT school only cost me $20,000 because I got all these scholarships and yada yada yada. Good for you. I am so happy for you. I am never one to hide the cost of school for me. I'm in a private institution. I am in a hybrid program where I've been able to work and support myself through school, and I have only taken out loans for the cost of education. I am also a scholarship recipient for partial cost of my education. I am going to be $130,000 in debt when I graduate OT school. I have a plan to pay this off. I'm not worried about it. I knew all of these numbers before I started, and in fact, my number is actually going to come out smaller than I thought it would be, which is really great. The cost to enter and the opportunity cost to enter the field doesn't quite align, in my opinion, with the pay, as well as the demand that it takes emotionally and physically, because we are standing, physically moving people, bending, all the things. I think OT should be paid more. Obviously, there's a lot of factors, including like how much is rehab reimbursed, and this is changing day to day as preventative medicine becomes more and more popular because hospitals spend less money on people that don't come back to their hospital. It's an interesting dilemma. I think it's worth it just because I love the field so much, but you have to really love the field. I wouldn't get into it unless you really love it. It's definitely not a field you go to for the pay. In my opinion, I don't know, maybe you have a different opinion, but that's just mine, and this is my video, so I get to share my opinion. Another thing that I thought about OT at the age of 22 was that there was a lot of variety in the field. And this is true because we can work with everyone from pediatrics to death, which means there is a lot of variety. And kind of along with this, one thing that I thought about occupational therapy as a whole was that like if you got bored of one field, you can just switch to another, so it always stays interesting. And I do agree and also disagree with this. Technically, it's all the same degree. But if you work in adults for 20 years, it can be really hard to switch to pediatrics without some other experience. So I don't know. I mean, there's technically opportunity to bounce around once you're in the field, but I think it's a little bit harder than just like, I'm gonna apply for a job over here. Like anyone that gets into healthcare, or I hope at least, I wanted to help people. Occupational therapists definitely help people. I think one thing that I was a little bit surprised about was like how many people don't want to be helped. I kind of figured that like if I came into a room and said, look at all these solutions that I have to your problems, people would be like, yay! But that is so not the case. And I think a lot of it is just a lack of education about like what OT is, as well as like insights to deficits that people have. But the 20% that do want to be helped are super passionate about having us there. But in the adult world, at least, people aren't so stoked about it. Like, I was really shocked about the number of people that are like, I don't need you, I don't want you. Sir, can you put your socks on? No, then you need me. But okay. I thought, and this was so naive of me to think, I guess I just kind of thought that in the healthcare world, at least, people knew what OT was. No one knows what OT is. Even some OTs don't know what OT is. I guess I didn't realize how much of my time is gonna be advocating for my field and explaining the role of my job. And that's fine by me. I am more than happy to be an advocate for OT, but I guess I didn't really realize how little people know about OT. Here I am, gonna explain it real quick. We do not just deal with the arms. We are not arm therapists. We also do not help you get a job. We could help you be better at your job if you have some sort of barrier to participating in your work, but we don't help you get jobs. Our function is to help with things that occupy your time, aka occupations. So we are rehab and habilitative professionals that focus on function for meaningful activities. That's kind of why I brought up the joke about the socks earlier. Dressing is a huge meaningful activity that allows you to participate in a lot of your other meaningful activities, and if you have some sort of barrier to getting dressed independently, it's a barrier to participating in life. I mean, like, I'm down for you running around naked, but other people are not. But anything that occupies time is an occupation, which means an occupational therapist can help address barriers to human participation in that thing. But yeah, those are all the things that I either regret or don't really regret about OT school. Thanks for watching this video, and as always, I will see you next week. Subscribe, like it, yada yada yada. See you soon.